All right, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a quick look at two-point perspective. And for our materials today, it's going to be very similar to what we used last time. We need a ruler, we need your sketchbook or a scrap piece of paper that you're going to work on. This time as well, what I'm going to ask is that you take a scrap piece of paper, line paper, graph paper, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't even have to be a big sheet of paper like this. It could even just be a couple of sticky notes. And what we're going to do, first of all, is take these and we're going to be sticking these onto the back. All right, with two-point perspective, we want to minimize distortion. So I'm going to just use a couple pieces of tape that I've got pre-cut over on the side here, and we're going to stick those down onto the back. Okay. Flipping it over, this becomes the drawing side of our paper. And just like we did in one-point perspective, our first step is to draw in our horizon line. So I've got a line from another drawing on that one sheet already. So I'm going to just take this, I'm going to extend my horizon line all the way across. Okay? Both the whole sheet and into the wings on either side. The next step that we're going to be doing here is adding in the vanishing points. And this is the same as one-point perspective. So I'm going to put one vanishing point way over here. Okay, so we got vanishing point 1 over on the left, and I've got vanishing point 2 way over here on the right. And I'm going to label that VP2 for vanishing point 2. Okay, so first two steps are the same between one and two-point perspective, and this is where things start to change up a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do, instead of drawing the face of our form, what we're going to do is we're going to draw the edge. Okay, and to do this, I'm just going to draw a vertical line. And again, we're going to make this kind of simple. Okay, so this is going to become a cube. But instead of looking at straight onto the front face of the square, we're looking at the corner or where the two sides meet together. Right? The next step, right, is going to be to take our vanishing lines from the top and bottom of this line. We're going to extend them out to vanishing point 1, like so. Okay, so you'll see that I'm kind of holding the ruler up at vanishing point 1 and just kind of rotating it like a clock hand up to vanishing point 1. Right, so this is going to become the side of our cube. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing, but extend our lines out to vanishing point 2 this time. So up we come, and we're going to do this again over here. Vanishing point 2, okay. And now we have the two sides of our rectangular prism. Okay. Before we can figure out where the top needs to go, right, we're going to kind of figure out the overall size of how long or how big each of these sides are. Okay, so the same thing that we did last time is we're going to take our ruler, we're going to line it up so that it matches with our vertical line, and we're going to drag this across, making sure that it is parallel, right? So this line and this line should look as though they're never going to meet with one another. And then from here, okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our ruler, we're going to line it up again with the center, and I'm going to shift it back the other way. I'm going to make this a little bit easier on myself. I'm actually just going to use the other side of the ruler as my line, and I'm going to make sure that that also remains parallel. Okay, so now we have the two sides of our cube figured out. In order to create the top, what I need to do is I need to join this vertex to the opposite vanishing point. Okay, so what we're going to do is kind of create a little bit of a crisscross. I'm not going to draw all the way over, I just need to come over a bit. And then I'm going to take this line here, or this point, this vertex, this corner, and I'm going to line that up. And my ruler's a little bit short, so I'm going to eyeball it the best that I can. And all I need to do is to extend this out past the other line. right? And just like this, we now have a three-dimensional shape that we have rotated in our space in order to look at it from a different point of view. All right, and just like we did last time with the one-point perspective, we're going to take our lines here, we're going to erase these. Okay, and we're going to, there we go, we got those edges removed. All right, get rid of these vanishing lines. We don't need these. These are not the part of the drawing. This is why it's really important that we draw those lines very lightly. Okay? So, as a bit of an added challenge, what I would like to do is to make it look as though there's like a hole in the side of this particular form. Okay? So to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly, again, draw a little bit of a line, okay? And I'm going to bring this across here, just like so, very, very lightly. Okay, so it's hard to see on the screen perhaps, but there's a light line that I've drawn. It's about 1 centimeter in from the edge. Okay. I need a back edge to this opening as well. And for this, I'm going to make it a little bit less. I'm actually going to measure this one out. So this one here is about 12 millimeters in from the edge. I'm going to make this one about, let's say about 7. Right? We know from our rules of perspective that as things recede into the distance, they get smaller. So by making this line distance here less than this, it's going to give the illusion that in reality they're actually about the same size, right? And that's what perspective is all about. It's about creating that sense of illusion. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure up. I want to try and create the illusion that we've got a fairly even border. So I'm going to measure in about 12 centimeters down from the top vertice down and from the vertice here up. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take from this point here and I'm going to create the bottom edge of my opening and the top edge of my opening, right? So ideally, right, these look like they're fairly consistent. So right now it just looks as though I've got a square on the edge of my cube, right? It's just drawn onto the edge. Right? If I wanted to create that, again, that sense of texture, or that sense that there is an opening, right, I can come in and I can just simply go from this one vertice to the opposite, and I'm going to draw a line through, right? And as soon as I do this, now suddenly it looks as though I've got an opening into the side of my three-dimensional form, right? So just like last time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to really quickly kind of come through here and I'm going to add in a little bit of value using some of my markers here that are already toned, right? And I'm just going to come across, right? And just by adding some of this value, or you could do this also with different color, you're going to start to really emphasize that sense of three-dimensionality. Of course, when you're doing your good copies of your works, you're going to make sure that this is looking a whole lot neater, right? But this is just an experiment to see how this process works, right? So we have our light value, right? And this is where we want to make sure that we're thinking about consistency. I'm going to put my medium value, actually, I capped my markers wrong last time. Okay, so our light value is up at the top. Okay, so this is going to change things up a little bit for my plan. I need to make sure that I'm flipping these back around, my caps, okay? And then I'm going to have my dark value, okay? So with this, I'm going to, again, start on the outside, right? And fill in really quick, and you can start to see that the shape is starting to look more and more three-dimensional by adding these elements in. And now, in order to really kind of solidify this illusion, what I need to do is to make sure that I'm sort of thinking through very, very carefully about where the light is going to hit on the different surfaces. Right now, the light is coming kind of down and from the top, right? It's coming in this kind of general direction, right? I have my little light bulb over here in the corner, right? And it's shining down this way, right? So the darkest part of my design is actually going to be this inside edge here. So I'm going to use this sort of darker tone and put it in here because it's got to be darker than this edge because it's on the inside of the shape. Okay. And that's going to require me to find an even darker tone here, and I'm going to just in order to get this to be looking even more three-dimensional here. Okay. So again, by adding in some value, right, and also like again thinking about sort of where the cast shadow might end up going, right, we can really emphasize that there is a stronger sense of three-dimensionality. Okay? So at the very least, what I would like you to try and do when you're experimenting with your two-point perspective, right, is just to create the three-dimensional form with the three different surfaces. As an added challenge, think about how you might be able to create an opening here in order to really test your understanding of two-point perspective, right? And it's this ability here that is going to transfer in order to allow you to create more interesting objects like buildings or complex lettering as well. And as an additional extension, how would you go about creating a form when the starting line that we've used crosses the horizon line, or when the object is above the horizon line? How would you use those same principles in order to create those two different shapes? And those would be excellent extensions as well for you to give a try. All right, as always, if you've got any questions, make sure that you're asking. Good luck, and make sure that you post what you're doing so that I can see how your work is coming along. Have a great day. Bye.